Good evening, y'all. Welcome to my channel, Watch Your Mouth Reviews. This is your boy James, where today I'm here to give you my honest review while trying to watch my mouth. It's not gonna happen this video, but that's okay. I'm gonna live to fight another day. Joining me is my co-host, Mrs. Best. I'll say what's up to her.
Good evening. I'll be on camera in just a moment. Like, share, and subscribe.
Yes, please subscribe to both channels. Any reviews or recaps that we don't cover on my channel, it's because we cover on Mrs. Best's channel. We just got done doing 90 Day Fiance before the 90 days. Tomorrow we'll be doing 90 Days The Single Life. And then we have Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So you guys love those shows, want to hear our comments, want to hear our commentary, you'll subscribe to her channel. And when those shows launch, we will get the live usually the day after. So y'all, Real Housewives of Potomac. I'm going to say this episode was okay, but I need them to spice it up and then take their time. And what I mean by that is that I need them to stay focused on better topics and not all the topics in one little sitting. I get they're trying to make way for Karen to come up on here, but y'all could have not rushed this first part. I had a hard time keeping up with everybody's drama. So the episode opens up. We have a backlog to October when Wendy was arrested. So they got Wendy and Eddie on camera a week after they had been released. And Wendy is distraught. She's disheveled. She has not eaten, but she needs to eat something. She said that this felt like a really bad dream. She did not think that they were going to be handled this way. And my assumption is what she's talking about is when she made the police report of her house getting burglarized, she didn't think that the police officers were going to do further research and then indict them as the people of interest. I don't think that that went through her mind. And that's what I'm going to say in my honest opinion, because as I said, we have not gotten any court updates of sentencing. They're facing 16 counts of felony charges, but we don't know what the sentencing is or if they're proven innocent or guilty. So I'm still going to play along as if that's what they're talking about, because I know that's probably what they're talking about in the scene. So as they talk about, their experiences, they talk about the lockup. They talk about how Wendy had to call her sister and she had their baby daughter got on the phone and want to know when they were coming to get them. And she said, she's going to hopefully see them tomorrow. Eddie broke down, had one little tear, and then Wendy was, trying to hold it together. And she just says, I can't believe my life is this way. And she asked a question that was so interesting to me, y'all. Wendy then asked the question is, do you think this will affect our marriage? Now, when she asked this question, I was like, wait, what? Why would you ask that question? So I had a lot of thoughts running through my head, y'all. I was like, wait a minute. Is this going to affect our marriage? So one of three things is happening in my mind. One, are you saying that if one or both of you go to prison, are you just going to forget about each other and want a divorce? Two, are you subtly blaming Eddie for this? Like, I was so taken back. I was like, wait, what's going on? Why was that the question? So, Mrs. Best, I have to ask you, when she asked Eddie that, did you feel like how I feel? Like, why would you ask that question? Or is this something that is valid?
If you are married and you have children and you are arrested for a major felony, that I think this might be where you got to be married to kind of get that should be one of the first questions, because if they're convicted, that can in fact impact your marriage. Like, it absolutely can. Having to deal with your children, explaining stuff to them about your arrest before you even get to court, that could impact your marriage. Having to deal with court in addition to the financial issues while under public radar and watch, that can absolutely impact your marriage. And then on top of that, they're on a reality show, which I think will impact their marriage, but they've never gone through anything like this. So I think it was a natural and fair question. It gave to me maybe she is unsure if her man will stay with her or any of that. But yeah, pretty much like Shayna said, anything that will change the dynamics of a marriage, you question. And I think healthy marriages is where someone would voice the question like Wendy. If they didn't speak about it or ask a question like that, her or Eddie, I would be more concerned about the marriage. But I think the fact that she asked that question means that they care. She cares. I think their marriage will be okay. I feel like in due time, if they are found guilty, I just don't think it'd be like Teresa and Joe Judice or Judice, however the hell you say it. They had serious cracks in the foundation of their marriage. Wendy and Eddie seem to be like actively in love. So I don't know, but this would definitely add some problems for them. But Wendy, please stop with this little voice. Girl, you was driving me crazy with that little voice.
Yeah. So Eddie said that, nothing's going to change, that they will make it out of this, through God's speed and strength. So we get to the actual reunion. And all the ladies are getting there in the morning time. And Ashley noticed that her dressing room is right next door to Karen's. And she was like, oh my God, it's Karen. She goes, oh, Karen probably wouldn't be here. I want to walk in. So she goes over to Giselle and she goes, are you, everything good? You nervous about anything? And she goes, no. But she goes, I am kind of anxious to see Wendy. I want to know how she's doing, as Wendy is walking in. So Giselle's the first one out on the stage. Usually that's how this goes. Giselle's usually the first one out. And then everyone else kind of trembles in, right behind her. So I got a good look at everybody's reunion look. So I'm still keeping Wendy as my best dress because Wendy actually looked better in the actual reunion footage than the picture that I showed. Wendy actually looked amazing. Tia, actually, I was really disappointed because her corset was such a brighter color than this picture is given, because I thought that was her actual skin, but it was a corset that was like a very big beige tan color. And I said, Tia, why would you get, yeah. And I didn't like Kay's hair or look either. I know I gave worst dress to Karen just because I didn't like Karen's look, but I'm actually going to give worst dress to Ashley. Because I didn't understand what she had on at all. I was like, whoa. It was more confusing live. Mrs. Best, are you changing your best or worst looks now, seeing them in real-time movement?
I don't remember who I said. I think I said best dress for Wendy, and she took it. I'm keeping my best dress the same. I think Wendy looks the best. My worst dress is still going to be Tia. She looks like my grandmother's friends, and my grandmother is 87 years old.
Damn.
Shout out to my Nana. I love you a lot. I love my Nana, y'all.
Yes.
Her friends look good though, and they all older. They're all between 60 and 90. And Tia looked like she could blend right in with the Golden Girls at the face.
I just feel like I wish maybe she wouldn't have worn the corset. I think if she actually showed her skin, the dress would have been better. I just think she just did not need the corset.
No,
because the dress isn't bad, but it just,
James, that's a bad dress. No one should have. If that's the dress does not look good. The corset part of that dress just does not make sense. I do think you're right, where if it was just her stomach and not them awkward slanted lines,
right,
it would be better. It looked like she might have ordered like a dress on Shein and had a stylist doctor it up or something. I cannot with Tia in this dress with this boring hair. I don't know what she's trying to do. It's given she don't know if she want to be a baddie or at the PTA meeting.
Ashley, like, she literally brought a tablecloth and just folded it up a bunch of different ways and wore it. Like, it just literally looks terrible. I said, Ashley, don't do this no more. But moving on from there, y'all, because we got to get through this reunion. Andy sits there and tells, the reunion, the OGs of Potomac, which is Giselle and Ashley, that they have been here for now 10 seasons. Do they think that the Housewives of Potomac would ever get this far? And Giselle said initially no, until she met Ashley. And then once she met Ashley and the dramatics and craziness that Ashley brought, she said, oh yeah, for sure. that it was going to last this long and maybe even longer. I said, okay. And then he brings up, Wendy. Wendy has been on the show for half its life. And he asked, how was the Wendy then versus the Wendy now? And she goes, well, the Wendy then was not sure of herself, very insecure and just, going with the flow of where life was then. And she has evolved where now she accepts herself even more and loves herself anymore. I said, oh, Wendy. Wendy, Wendy, Wendy. I said, man. So Andy told her, look, I have to ask some questions that are in regards of your case. Unfortunately, where the things stand now. And she goes, well, I can't tell you much. We have been to court. It's an open and ongoing investigation. And, we hope to have some, resolve soon. And he goes, okay, we'll talk more about this. And Wendy was, she was very, she was a team player. I will have to, at least she faced it, unlike Karen. They did ask her about her time in jail and prison, or time in jail, and she said that she had to spend the night. She also said that, it was hard because her son actually found out what happened to them before they got a chance to explain it, which is hard, y'all. And as I told y'all, when I heard this happening, that was my first thought, was those kids and them, the two boys being old enough to actually Google it and actually see what's going on with their parents, or get a hold of some YouTube channel with their faces on it, because this went everywhere. So I felt for them in that moment. This is why you don't commit crimes, y'all. This is why you don't do that, allegedly. So Mrs. Best, when Wendy was explaining, her time in jail and then her kids' reactions, which we talked about on my channel, how we felt for them. What was your response hearing her talk about that?
I feel like she's trying to use her kids to get people to be empathetic to her and her situation, because people, I'm not gonna lie, y'all have been hard on Wendy, and y'all are harder on Wendy than you were on Karen.
Yeah.
And to me, what Karen did is worse. But Wendy and Eddie, y'all got to stop accusing people of being guilty for crimes before they are found to be guilty. They have not been found guilty yet, but obviously they had to have done something shady to get the government involved. But I don't know, Wendy and Eddie, especially Wendy, I just feel like she's trying to get people to feel sorry for her. And when you are being charged with a crime, nobody's going to view you as a victim. They're going to view you as a person who's being charged with a crime. Even if they're not, finding you guilty. So I don't know. I didn't need to know all of that stuff about Carter and the kids and where they went. I feel like Wendy is just explaining the stuff to us that she can't explain, because let's keep it a buck. She can't tell us shit until after her case is tried and she's been convicted or let off. She can't really say nothing. A lawyer's not going to let her speak. So I'm surprised that they even gave her. I mean, I understand her getting first chair because she was involved in a lot this season. But if their reason for giving her first chair was because of this crime, not worth it. Wait till we get further. Like, Bravo's just trying to capitalize off of every step of this process.
I agree, because it wouldn't be surprised me, because I think she gets the trials on February 27th, I believe, or 26th, somewhere.
The trial is this week, I believe. It's happening soon.
Yeah, I know it's coming. I thought it was next week. I have to look at my calendar again. But yeah, so we'll find out, and I'm pretty sure the Bravo cameras are going to pick up very soon, because they're not going to want to miss this.
Living beyond your means, Black people. Okay, we could have let Teresa Giudice and Luann have this. Why y'all got to come on the only other all-Black show? You got Karen getting drunk, crashing in the cars with her side pieces and trees. And then you got Wendy and Eddie allegedly defrauding insurance companies and then posting pictures of it while they on vacation. Like, can y'all just live within your means?
Yeah.
Come on. During Black History Month, too.
Yeah. So he also brings, introductions to Tia and Angel. I'm not going to really talk too much because he didn't really say much about Tia. But Angel confirms that she did close on a home in Potomac, and that the same people who did the interior design for their Colorado home will do the Potomac home. And Ashley, with her little messy ass, said, okay, is the acreage still the same? And Angel said, well, it's, some acres, maybe not as much, but, Of course, you wouldn't know because you don't live in Potomac. And Ashley goes, well, actually, I could have lived in Potomac if I wanted to. And it's like, Ashley, no, you couldn't have, because you would have lived in Potomac if you could. You couldn't. So let's not do that, you know. And I felt a little shade, and I'm glad Angel clocked it. That was the one time Angel got one from me. Now, the rest of this reunion, it was kind of pick and choosy of what I felt Angel did. But that was the one time she got Ashley together, because Ashley couldn't afford it. Not without Michael. Not without Michael, you couldn't, Ashley. So don't do that. So as we continue on, we then jump on to Stacy. You know, with all the lies, still she rise. So they show the montages of Stacy, you know, with the ladies and everything. And the questions then come up about questioning Stacey's authenticity, because Andy brought up that she seems to always be like some sort of like caricature on the show. And everyone's like, yeah, especially Giselle. Giselle could wait for that question to be answered. And Andy also mentions in the same breath that, you know, he rewatches her QVCs and he finds them refreshing. And Stacey's all like, you know, watching my QVC, you'll see that I'm literally the same person. You know, everyone's like, well, that was a job for you, Stacey. And Stacey looked at Ashley, because Ashley wants to say, she goes, indeed. And when Stacey said that, I was like, that's going to go over everybody's head. That's going to go over everybody's head, and no one's going to catch it. Mrs. Best, did you catch what she was saying when she said indeed?
I think most people did, except for the cast.
Except for the cast. We all were like, checkmate, duh. And for those of y'all who didn't, no, listen. It's hard. You got to be able to read the shade and understand the shade. Stacey's saying checkmate as in, or saying indeed as, that was a job. So is this one. Hello.
That was Stacey saying, no matter what you bitches do, y'all are my co-workers, which is the best shade that you could throw to somebody.
Yes.
Because, listen, you have co-workers and you may think you close with your co-workers and stuff, but trust and believe, if you leave that job, you're not going to talk to all of them. So Stacey is saying, I'm business. You're not going to know too much about me. I'm not going to change. You're just going to have to get over it. Colleagues. And I think Andy caught it, because he
chuckled. He was like, chuckled. Damn. Because Ashley thinks she's so smart. That went right over her head.
Ashley, I think that's why Ashley has become intolerable, actually, as seasons have continued. Because when we first started Potomac, it was truly, like they said, a mom group, housewives, people overcoming divorce, things like that. But as time has continued since Ashley's been there, we got people like Candace, highly educated, graduate degree. Then you brought on Dr. Wendy and her 4 degrees. Ashley used to be on this show trying to show that she went to college for a little bit, using big words. And now you got actual smart people on here. And the bitch can't keep up.
Okay. So the next question they asked was about the whole her getting back with her husband and the whole TJ thing. And she looked over at because Tia was like, I think Tia had made the comment first about Stacey changing it up and her accent, because she was on a plane with Stacey and she didn't know that was Stacey talking, because her voice was deeper and she was using colloquialisms to kind of, you know, use her conversation. And Stacey looked at her and she said, oh, you would know about accents, wouldn't you? And Tia was like, see, that's enough. So you're trying to put off this narrative about my accent being fake. And she goes, listen, I'm not saying it is, but at the end of the day, you have a husband who's American. You have children as American. I'm just saying, I've heard it go in and out. And Giselle said, when have you heard it go in and out, Stacey? She said, she accused me of doing the same thing, Giselle. And I'm saying to her, I feel the same way. Hello? And Giselle, that went over Giselle's head too, because Giselle, what she's trying to say is that Stacey is, Tia is trying to paint Stacey as some fake like fraud that married up. And basically, Stacey turned the tables on her and said, you basically did the same thing. Because ain't you married to an American? I'm married to a European. What's the difference between me and you right now? We both playing it up in our relationship. So what are you talking about?
As Dr. Wendy said, Stacey is very smart.
She is.
And Wendy, it take a smart person to recognize another intelligent person. And I think Wendy realized after the little situation with Shayo and the name, I think she realized, oh, she's smart. Because that secured her for a storyline that made her look shady and petty. But then the way that she acts and her personality acted confused and sedity, television gold. Wendy saw that and understood that. And I think that's why she chose to align with Stacey. The rest of these hoes, with the exception of Angel, the rest of these hoes is relevant because of what somebody else did. Even Tia said that she's only got certain things because her daddy was some sort of fake ass royalty. Okay, Giselle got with Pastor Holy Whore, and he was making good money from the collection plate in the church. Don't trust mega churches. Ashley got her money from crusty ass Michael Darby and threesomes all over the world. And Kiana allegedly got her money from some shady nigga in Baltimore that she's hiding while she was stealing Greg from a wife, allegedly. So, with the exception of Angel, I mean, all these ladies, they really not that smart. They just relevant because of what they men did.
Mm-hmm. So exactly, and that's how I feel. So Andy asked about the whole TJ thing, and he, because Stacey has denied the claims of paying him, and I actually don't think she paid him at all. Because that to me sounds stupid to do. He's getting the free exposure from the show
by now. TJ ain't filed no lawsuit. He ain't been talking as much. His famous friend ain't said nothing.
Yes. So Giselle was like, well, what did you want us to do, Stacey? Like, did you want the actress to give us information and us not bring it up on the show? And it was like, yes, Giselle, have some couth. But Stacey was like, okay, y'all both have had men that embarrassed y'all on this franchise. And Ashley said, no one's ever embarrassed me. I said, Ashley, bullshit and lies. Michael embarrassed the fuck out of you. And Giselle, so did Pastor Jamal when you were trying to fake the season and y'all were together. Let's not act like y'all didn't go through shit. That's what was pissing me off about them. Stacey just didn't have her words together, but I would have read them for absolute filth. So it then comes up about Tia meeting Timo and Arabella. And Stacey said that Tia didn't come in there with the intentions to really get to know her or her family. She came in there to be messy and to report back to her master, saying Giselle. And all Giselle could say, well, you report to your master, you report to Wendy. And I said, Giselle, that was stupid. That was stupid. Because when have we ever seen on camera Stacey report back to Wendy? I'll wait. I didn't think so. That's exactly what Tia did. Because I am sure, just like we got the footage of when Angel was saying she had to get up out her house and she didn't understand why. We saw Tia take a long ass drive home to call you and tell you exactly what was going on. So if Tia could do it to Angel, I'm more than positive she can do it to Stacey. We just don't have the camera footage, which I don't know if the producers just didn't get it that day. I don't know what happened with all that, but I'm sure you were the first phone call to, from Tia to you. I'm pretty sure, Giselle. So that was crazy. How did you feel about that interaction between Stacey and Tia, and Stacey's point about reporting that back to Giselle? Do you think that's really what happened?
The reaction with Stacey and Tia, I don't know. I wouldn't waste my energy if I was Stacey on Tia, but I feel like Stacey got what she needed to get across. Giselle saying, well, you do it with Wendy, just proved that Giselle is aware. And that was her admitting that she basically gave the bone to Tia to carry. But yeah, I don't really have much to say on it.
Yeah, I agree. I just felt like, Tia, that was foolish of you. Like, realistically, you should have just owned it at that point, because we all feel that you did that. Because if you do it to Angel, and I think they did address that, Angel was like, oh, I had a conversation with Tia, and I told her that was not okay for her to do. And it was like, okay, well, why you didn't do it on, well, I guess she wouldn't have ever seen that. I was like, never mind, James, never mind. So we're going to move it along. It then comes up with Angel and how her season went with the ladies, and them feeling like she didn't really want to get to know them, and that she just got on Potomac, for the show. And I was like, isn't that the reason why everybody gets on Potomac? It's a platform. Everyone's trying to promote their businesses. Isn't that the point? Like, she ain't coming on there to make friends. And Tia was like, oh no, I came on the show to make friends, not to get clients. I said, Tia, Whatever. I ain't got time, y'all. We got to get to the next live pretty soon here. I ain't gonna waste my time on Tia. But Mrs. Best, I'm gonna ask you, it could be messy. Do you feel that Tia genuinely came on the show for friends, or do you think she came on the show to advance her career?
Tia came on the show for a check. That's it, and that's all.
That was stupid of her to say. But it then comes up about Angel and the comment about the baboon ass that she made about Wendy. And this whole debacle comes up about how, it felt like Angel had all of the energy for Wendy and no smoke for Giselle, even though Giselle was the one who started the whole catfish thing about Angel in the first place. And Angel's defense is that when she was picking apart the moment, the only thing that really stood out to her was Wendy laughing about the comment. So she, looking back on it now, she understood why Wendy was the way she was, because Angel in the moment only heard the laughing and her repeating the catfish comment. Angel, I feel like that was a cop out. I really do. I felt like that was a cop out because Giselle made it very clear. And in the scene, you did understand that she was the one implying everything. So the fact that you said that you were processing it and the only thing you could really direct was Wendy laughing and repeating the comment, to me, that still does not signify the fact that you were present for the conversation still with Giselle. I think Wendy was an easier target for you to attack because you're intimidated by Giselle. I think a lot of women who come on the show with Real Housewives of Potomac usually get intimidated by Giselle. They do. I don't know what that's about, and I don't care. But I just felt like she copped out on that one. I would have said, yeah, I, was scared to, confront Giselle. And then it's like Wendy said, you thought she was going to be your big sister. That's what the whole problem is. And I have to ask you this, Mrs. Best, because it seems to be a running thing. What do you think makes Giselle so intimidating to women? Like, what do you think it is? Because Angel's not the first person to do this. So what do you think is what it is about Giselle that makes women so like, ooh, scared? And y'all answer this in the comments too. What makes Giselle so intimidating?
I don't think Giselle is intimidating, so I cannot answer that question.
I don't think she is either. I think she's the easiest read of them all. I don't understand why women get on the show and as soon as Giselle say something, they hurtle like little vermin and just run into their little holes and hide from her. It's like, fuck is Giselle? She's an easy read. All she do is yell over you, and you can do that even. Like, so it then comes up about the chin check comment. And, there was a lot of conversation going on around this time, and I was like trying to follow it. Kay was trying to interject as Wendy and Angel were having their moment because Angel was going to apologize to Wendy about how, it did look, and she saw where Wendy was coming from. But Kay was so much trying to get her moment that she was like, what's going on here? Why aren't you being quiet? Why aren't you hushing? And Wendy was like, what the hell is this? Like, no, she has the floor. She was speaking. And she's like, oh, no, Kay was speaking first. And Wendy's like, no, she wasn't. You were talking and your point was valid. Keep going. So somehow Kay still got the floor and said, well, I apologize to you, Angel, for saying that, you've been my friend and I don't ever want that to happen. And she goes, okay, good. And she goes, and to our point, Wendy, when I saw it, my energy was different when it came to me being at the table with you ladies versus how I took it. It was different. And I apologize to you for allowing that moment to make it sound like you were the one that was chesting me on it when really it was how I took it. And I said, thank you, Angel, for doing that. But at the same time, what is going on between you and Kay? What is this almost parallel Ike and Tina situation? Why are you so afraid to say, hey, sit back, relax, I got this? Like, because to me, Mrs. Best, did you notice that too? Or was it just me? Because I was looking at them too, like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, I did notice it. I think that Kay's an aggressive, mean ghetto bitch that just knows how to get pretty on camera. I'm gonna just call a spade a spade. If she don't like it, I'm in Oakland. Pull up Kay. I don't like hoes like Kay. I don't. The more that we see of Kiana, the less likable she is. I think that their friendship was based on having fun. I think that they were the friends that got together after parties. They used to see each other in the same social circle, so they started hanging out. I don't think that Kiana is very close to Angel the way that they try to make it seem. listen, I've known James for 20 years, but there's a lot of people that I still talk to today that I've known just as long as James from high school. It doesn't mean that I'm as close to them as I am to him. So I just don't think that their friendship is much deeper than going out in the club when they were single and having fun. I also feel like Kiarna doesn't want to look bad at all because she knows that she looks extremely bad. And I would say out of everyone, Kiarna is probably the housewife outside of Ashley that gets the most disdain and dislike from people. Especially Kay in the earlier season, the way she was riding with Cookie and them, carried that bone, which I can't wait for them to talk about. Then she went and picked at Stacey, and she just looked angry anytime. Like they said something in this reunion, like when Wendy was talking about her kid, Kiarna made the nastiest, meanest face. Like,
oh yeah, she did.
She's super aggressive and negative. And I just don't feel like she's really a friend to anyone. I feel like Kiarna is actually the person that you don't want to trust. So I'm not surprised at what she's doing. I feel like Angel is weak to a certain extent and will allow that treatment from Kiarna. Why is the question, but I don't like Kay.
Right. It was just her energy was weird. So we then move it along to Ashley. Andy told Ashley, he said, Ashley, I got a whole lot of stack of people saying that you were messy and everything this season and, you know, unfair. She goes, well, who have I been messy with? And Angel's in her. She goes, hello, Stacey, me, Wendy. And she said, well, the stuff I said about Wendy, it was a joke. It wasn't even all of that. And Wendy looked at her and was all like, because Ashley said Wendy makes jokes on people too, and Wendy was like, not about this, not about us getting, not about me getting arrested. Like even when Karen got arrested, I didn't make a joke about that. And she goes, Wendy, like you have, like you be throwing out your accomplishments, you be throwing out all these things about us, trying to think it like you're better than us. And she goes, well, Ashley, you could, but you ain't got no accomplishments. And when Wendy said that, I fell on the floor hollering. I said, I know that's right, Wendy. Get her with that. Because what does Ashley have, y'all? Ashley literally gets by on the show being
she has
messy.
A high body count.
Well,
I'm eating my dinner. I'm off camera. My apologies. I have not eaten today at all. But I just wanted to participate and say that if we want to talk about something that Ashley is good at and has accomplished, it's hoeing. This bitch be fucking on different men and women between the Americas and down under in Australia. She'll let you hit if you are overcoming cancer looking like Jack Harlow, or if you are 72 years old still wearing thongs, having threesomes with men, women, and everything in between, snatching at producers' asses on camera. Or she'll sleep with you if you're the child of her mentor who helped her get on this show. What the lady say on the Thanksgiving song, you name it, that's Ashley with these niggas. So yeah. She can't say nothing to nobody. She ain't accomplished nothing but pissing off Roberta Flack's estate. Them people spoke out.
I would have too. This is my problem with Ashley. Because Ashley sat up there and said in this moment here, I didn't understand the severity of what was going on between you and Wendy. And I said, Ashley, you a fucking lie. Because you sat there with that microphone and your mama sitting there in that little snippet, they cut it out. I said, y'all cut it out too soon. She was sitting up there smiling and shit with her gap. And you sat up there and said, that's news to y'all. That ain't news to us. So right then and there, you understood the severity of what was going on with her. So I don't need to hear that you didn't understand. No, you were being messy, you were being funny, and you were trying to joke at her expense, and that shit wasn't funny. Because at that time, we didn't know what was going on with Wendy. So for you to do that, that was really, if I was Wendy, I would have cussed your ass out. but Wendy's going to take the high road because she got enough problems. But what I'm saying is Ashley is full of shit, and this is what she does. She always says, just like when she brought up the African, whatever that term was called, that one season with Aneka. She always talking about, I didn't understand the severity of it. That's what she says. But then you bring it on camera and you're trying to be messy. It's like, you can't do both. You can't understand the severity of something, but then try to use it for a messy moment on TV. It cannot work that way, Ashley. I'm sorry. Someone need to call your big foreheaded ass out for that shit. Like, it's really, somebody needs to do that. And I'm sick of y'all women letting Ashley get passes on shit like that, because Ashley knows what the fuck she's doing. She ain't that damn stupid. She knows what she's doing. So if y'all to sit there and just let her get passes like that, I'm sorry, that is crazy. Because if I was Wendy, hopefully Wendy does the next episode. If Wendy doesn't do a next episode, I'm going to be pissed, because Ashley knew what the fuck she was doing and what the fuck she was saying that night. And Sheila, sorry you had to catch a stray.
She rolled her eyes when Wendy was like, but you said something bad. And she's like, but I didn't know, babe. Yes, you did. You did know. Ashley is the hot mess express. But I don't think that she ate the way the internet does, saying to Wendy, I only have one social security number, because Wendy was not accused of using different social security numbers. She was accused of insurance fraud.
Yeah.
So y'all over there like, oh my God, Ashley ate in the comments and stuff. Open your eyes and your ears, y'all. Critically think, because she did not. She didn't even, Ashley was embarrassed because someone pointed out that she really hasn't accomplished anything on television. She is the Toya Bush Harris of Housewives of Potomac. 10 seasons, nothing to show for it.
Not as one.
But a house in Michael Darby's company's name, and 2 kids that are not well behaved. And Sheila and that Gap in that same wig. Like, no.
I just feel like for me, it's just, I was pissed at that. I was like, y'all let Giselle and Ashley get away with too much shit. Y'all do. Y'all let them get away with way too much. But that was pretty much, like I said, they didn't really touch on too much in this first part outside of Wendy and this whole situation. And maybe that shit with Stacey. Other than that, they really didn't go too far. I felt like they could have gone further, especially with the Tia and Stacey thing. They could have went further with that, because I feel like, to me, as Mrs. Best said, Tia had Stacey fucked up. And as we all said, Tia was so stuck on Timo saying he had to go out of town versus Stacey saying in that same scene, he's uncomfortable with the situation. So I don't know if he'll ever come around. That's what she told her. But the fact that Tia wanted to be messy, you know, I wish Stacey would have led into her just a little bit more. I wish she would have read her just just a little bit longer.
I think Tia or Stacey knows not to read Tia too much, because that will make her relevant. And Tia, I think she'll come back, but I don't think after next season that she would get like offered back a second time. Like, she's just not that interesting.
No, she isn't. And I don't know why we, are giving her this much shine. But that was pretty much the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion part 1. If I missed something that you want to talk about, leave it in the comments. I will address it next week. But that's pretty much it, you guys. I got to get to Married to Medicine now. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And we will see you guys on my next live. Have a good one, y'all. Bye-bye.